Please ask host to give you permission.
Allowed to record.
Recording.
Okay.
All right. Are we all good?
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Is it on?
Is it working? Is it
I
on?
think it's working.
Okay. All right,
Welcome,
I guess
friends.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, that's the intro.
We're really winging it this time.
Well, welcome, friends.
Hello.
Welcome to Shots in the Walk-In.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
This is a podcast about the restaurant industry and all related industries. My name is Anna.
My name is Renee.
And that fine little piece of ass over there is Amber. Hi, Amber.
Hi.
We have our friend Amber here that we're very excited to talk to. We have actually been chatting with her about some super interesting marketing strategies for the last, I don't know, hour
2
and a half,
hours.
a while. And we thought it'd be fun just to hop on and really get this party started. So hello, Amber, even though we've been talking for a long time.
Again, long time no see.
Yeah, exactly. We know Amber because we all worked together in a nightclub in Seattle. And well, that was a long time ago. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm. Couple years.
Yeah, when did
Yeah.
you leave, Amber?
2014.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I think it was like October of 14. Yeah.
Cool. We're old.
But I did go back though. To be fair, I did go back in 2018.
Oh, you did?
Oh, okay. That's right.
2016 till 2017. Yeah.
Got it.
Oh.
Yeah, when I came back from traveling, I went back there to work part-time.
Oh,
Just
that's good. I'm
Yeah.
sure that they were super stoked to have you back because, to be fair, you guys were ever the only good servers at that place. Cocktailers, whatever the fuck you're called.
Bitches.
Bitches.
We were the best. We were the beer wenches. That's what
Yeah.
we were.
Yeah, you know, you were.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we all worked together for several years. It was really great. You guys worked together much closer than I did because you were the cocktailer lady extraordinaires / bitches.
Mm-hmm.
Bad.
Which is, yeah, exactly. Which is honestly the hardest job ever, trying to serve drinks at a nightclub. It's crazy. I don't know. But yeah, they were the only two that were ever good at it. So bravo. And
Thanks.
since then, I mean, it's been, okay, what you said, 2018. And that was the last time that you were actually in the restaurant industry because you went back to school.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, what was your first service industry job? Because Havana wasn't your first job.
Correct. So my first service industry job technically would have been in Tacoma when I was 19. But like my first real job that I actually maintained after training, because I had like 8 jobs that year when I was 19, was working in Vegas when I was 22.
Was working where?
In Vegas.
Vegas.
The Vegas, yes.
Good old.
Were you cocktailing there?
I was a VIP table host.
Of course you were.
You know, which is just, you know, a glorified escort. Essentially, you just stand there with a bottle of booze and pour it for gentlemen or gentle ladies.
Okay, because you
know,
just made it sound like you're a prostitute.
I know. That's
Sex worker.
But listen, escort is different than prostitutes. Escorts don't necessarily put out, so don't get it twisted.
Oh, okay. Got it. I was just blowgies under the table, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. You know.
No, I think an escort is like when a rich guy hires you and then you just get to like go out to dinner.
Got it.
Go to dinner or go to a company party,
Yeah.
You know, the for rent girlfriend for the evening. You know, there's I think escort's kind of a broad I don't know. You could probably, I mean, if we talked to an escort or a prostitute, they'd probably school us on what the fuck was defined. But I always considered like prostitutes were the sex ones, and then escorts were just there for fun and looks, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, obviously you would be good at any of those things that you put your heart into.
I don't know what you heard, but okay, yeah. So VIP table host at what is now the Bank. It used to be called Light at it's the nightclub at the Bellagio. And I was paid to stand at a table and pour booze for people that they could legally pour for themselves, but I was paid to stand there and do it for them if they should wish.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of tips.
I was gonna say, yeah, you must have made a shitload of money.
Yeah, my first weekend, which granted so the first weekend that I made tips, the first weekend that I was there, I did not make tips because I was just shadowing all weekend, seeing what the other girls were making and being like, fuck. And then the first weekend that I did make tips was, I don't remember who was fighting because I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff back then, but there was like some Mexicans boxing in Vegas that weekend, and it was Cinco de Mayo weekend. So it was like insanely fucking busy. I failed my mock test. So we worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were open. Or it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I can't remember. One of those 3 days. I failed my mock on the first day, so I couldn't make tips that night, but then I passed it the next day so I could make tips on the last 2 nights. And in those 2 nights, I think that, it was like, I made like $3,000 in tips in just those 2 nights.
Yeah. Whoa, when you're 22.
Yeah, when I was 22, and it was probably gone by the next weekend. Booze and movies from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Amber, the fucking movie buff.
Oh, those late fees, they used to rack up, let me tell you.
That's pretty good. You gotta get a box of Mike and Ike.
That's true.
Well, yes, you gotta get your Mike and Ikes and go to the bin where the 5 for $20 DVDs are, or the 3 for $20. Yeah, I bought like 150 DVDs in that 3 months that I lived in Vegas.
Oh,
that's ridiculous.
But now I pay $15 a month for Netflix and just watch all the things on Netflix. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, remember when like having a dope DVD collection meant that you were like a fucking baller?
So true.
Yeah.
And the giant CD book in your car.
Oh yeah, that would get robbed.
Yep.
Fine. I'm like, oh, that's fine. It's just $1,000 worth of music.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was when I had my CDs, my whole collection stolen for the second time in my teen years. I said, fuck that, LimeWire it is, never paying for music again.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Napster, baby.
Oh
yeah. I remember those days, and like burning CDs. God damn, that was great. The simpler times.
It was the simpler times. Pause. Hold on. Sorry, my laptop's gonna die.
Oh, that's funny that she was doing that. I wasn't even looking at her. I was looking up and out at the world.
I just thought this. So I was like, what is she doing?
Yeah. And now she has to talk to Mabel too.
Well, yeah, why not?
Sorry.
Rude.
I meant to do this and I got distracted.
Oh, rude. I'm gonna put my laptop on a box so I don't have to look down at it. Look back at. Watch, I'm gonna drop my whole laptop on the cooking floor. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, there we go.
Here I am.
There we go.
Yeah, the cool thing about sorry. Okay.
Are we going back now? Are you gonna give us a hand signal?
Race car guys with the fucking headphones.
The cool thing about having a dope CD collection back in the day is that most of it was all burnt CDs. So when I lost mine, and because it's just what happened, or it gets stolen or whatever, but it wasn't a big deal because then you could just go make more.
Yeah, but you put so much time and effort into, especially if you make mixed CDs.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And those were the best.
Heartbreaking when that shit got stolen, which everybody got their CD books stolen. I guess it was like, you know, a rite of passage.
Oh. And I'm like a couple years older than you guys, I feel like. So when mine were stolen, probably at the same age, they were not the kind that were ripped. Like I literally would buy, I worked at Best Buy, so I would buy DVDs every time I got paid, or CDs every time I got paid. No, they were legit all like, and you think back then they were like $20 a pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're paying 15, 16, 20 bucks for that shit.
If I'm getting my like 10% employee discount at Best Buy, like that's still insane.
Yeah.
Okay, Best Buy.
Yikes.
Give your employees a better discount.
Yeah, really. I'm sure they're about to go fucking bankrupt though. Does anyone go to Best Buy anymore? Like, I don't know.
I don't think so. Actually, we were just talking about that the other night. Josh and I watched Christmas Vacation, like Griswold family Christmas Vacation. And you know, in the beginning, yeah, it's so good. But in the beginning, how he goes to the department store and he's like talking to the hot chick and like, but he's all like being goofy, whatever.
Yeah.
But we were like, wow, remember going shopping for Christmas presents at a department store?
Yeah.
Or
I
like
was just,
whatever.
Yeah, I was just talking about that with somebody the other day too. I was like, I really want to go to Macy's to get the Frango mints. Like,
oh, we talked about Frango mints. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, because he was giving me, he was giving me a foot massage, and I found this like little lotion thing. I like to get a foot massage when we're watching a movie.
I like to get a foot massage.
I do.
That's
It's
very
great.
nice. Yeah.
But I found this like weird little lotion that I had like gotten for free at some point, whatever. And I was like, here, use this. And Josh was like, this smells like the Bon. I was like,
the Bon
like,
Marché.
You're dating yourself, first of all. But then I smelled it and I was like, yeah, that does smell like the Bon.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Okay, I want to circle back because I don't want to get lost. So
this always happens.
You said that you failed your mock. What did you call it?
Yeah. Yeah. So we would do mock service. So like the manager, so they would show, I shadowed for the first weekend, just like watching the servers, how they poured all this. And this particular club was super particular about everything, how you held the towel on your hand, how you popped your bottles, how you poured, how you held the bottle when you were pouring, making sure the label's pointing out, you know, super particular about the most ridiculous things. Had to memorize every flavor of every alcohol. And this is, you know, Vegas is not like, oh, you're just sticking with one brand or one line. Like they have every single different vodka, and we had to know every single flavor of every single vodka in case someone asked us. Like they were like super strict on any of the servers at this club, and made us memorize all this stuff and do this stuff to a T because we made the most money on the strip of any of them. So they just wanted to make it hard on us, right? Like, oh, it's not easy to work here, you know? So on top of and I was like having nightmares about it. I would like read stuff, like all of the flavors and every alcohol. And this was long before I didn't know what the difference between gin or vodka was, or like what brands are Scotch. And like, I knew nothing, right? So having to try to memorize every single liquor that the bar carried on top of all the flavors and the different kinds and the different levels and the different pricing on top of that. And then every champagne and wine, and oh my God, I would read these lists and like fall asleep because like, you know, there's studies that say that if you study things right before you go to sleep. So I would like intentionally take like multiple naps every day throughout the week to like
what?
Read it and then take a nap and memorize it and like read it. And oh my God, I was having nightmares about it. So then the mock the next weekend. So they would usually have us do the mock, or whoever's training do the mock on the first night of the weekend. And then you can make tips the rest of the week or the weekend, you know. Well, I failed it. I don't even remember how I failed it, but basically you do like a mock serving to the managers. So like the manager and the assistant manager are the customer, and you have to, you know, they're going to say, oh, I want, you know, Absolute, but what flavors do you have? And make you rattle them all off. Or if we opened the champagne bottle or bottle of bubbles and it made any sound, and mind you, this is, you know, we're just doing a mock, so the club is not open, there's no music pumping. If there was any sound, we would have to take the bottle back, go get another one, bring it all the way back. Like it was just ridiculous. So ridiculous. And they would do that while we were working too. Like if the managers were walking by and saw us pour something wrong or whatever, they would make us take it all the way back to the bar, the bottle or whatever, and then come back and, you know, just try to humiliate us. It's great.
Damn,
Jesus.
that's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
especially as a 22-year-old too, because you don't know shit about shit at that point.
Yeah,
You're like,
and then and thrown into the lion's den of like all of these girls that were our age now, like in their 30s, being confident, knowing their shit, knowing they're gonna make hella money and lead there. And then you're just some like 22-year-old fucking girl with her Seosin shirt on and hair dyed black. Like just like way back when I was like super against anything that was a Vegas girl back then, you know, like, whoa, they're like, who the fuck is this bitch? He was like the head of marketing for the company that owns all of the light nightclubs. They would come in for industry night, and I was serving him one night, and he just loved me. He was like, I just love you. You're just so different from all the other girls, and but just dye your hair blonde and like let some guy buy you some tits, and you'll make so much more money. He was gay, obviously, so he's like arguing. I'm like, no, that is everything I don't want to do. And he's like, you would just make so much more money, girl. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah. But tips were pooled, so it's fine. I still made money.
Right. Oh, okay.
Oh, really? They did tip pooling, eh?
Interesting.
Oh yeah. When you have like tens of thousands of dollars in tips coming through, yeah, they were, and there were girls that like they were the ones that pulled the weight for the whole club, because these were like the girls that like everybody wanted to serve them when the like high rollers came in. Yeah. So I felt kind of bad for them because they were the ones pulling the money. And then I would like, walking home with $3,000 my first night or my first weekend there, I was like, I kind of feel like I robbed somebody. Like, I don't feel like, but it was, it's not easy. It was fucking stressful. And then it was like working in Vegas, you're basically partying when you're working because you're encouraged to like party with your patrons, right? Or at least back then you are. I don't know how things are different now, but especially as the VIP table host, we were encouraged to drink with our tables, not only to consume their alcohol, so we're helping them buy more, but if the guys are like, oh, have a drink with us, and you say no, then they're going to be less likely to spend more money, right? So the managers were like, it wasn't legal by any means, but most shit is not legal that goes on in Vegas. Yeah. But the managers were like, yeah, do it, because you're going to make your customers happy and you're going to be consuming their alcohol. So, so I was hammered every night. Like there was nights that I couldn't even help counting tips, because I was like, the lights would come on, and it's like such a high functioning drunk, that you're just like, you have no idea until like the music turns off and the lights come on and all the patrons are gone, that you're just like, okay, I've been very drunk for the last 4 hours and didn't really realize.
Yeah.
Totally. Man, that's kind of crazy. Well, and especially, if you're like drinking and doing all that stuff, doing the silent popping of the bottle is a little bit harder. Get your ass sent back for another one.
Yeah. And then walking in like our uniforms were,
I was gonna ask that.
Fucking like, so they were tiny black dresses that we would have to get tailored to be a certain amount of inches up from our knee, and then have the slit tailored too. So they like took our measurements, but they were just like plain old, like a black dress you could buy off of the Amazon, but they wanted them to be like a certain length, right? And to show a certain amount. And then we were told to wear like this is when like layering bras and shit, colorful bras was like a thing. So they would have us wear like colorful bras underneath the dress and like pull the dress down so the bras were showing. And these big ass fucking black patent leather, like, but they were really like not real leather, obviously, but like the patent leather look boots, like knee high, just like go-go boots. So walking up and down these stairs, drunk with a fucking tray above your head, with people all around you in these fucking boots. Yeah, it's a good time. Good time.
Were they obviously they were heels?
They were like go-go boots, like big, like fucking platforms and the heels. Yeah.
I don't care who you are. That sounds fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like anyone that thinks that these types of jobs are easy money or easy this and that, whatever, that sounds really, really hard.
Yeah. It was the act. Yeah. It's not easy. Well, and even just dealing with drunk people in general. I mean, even if you're not wearing a tiny dress, getting your ass grabbed, trying to walk up and down stairs with a tray above your head. And just dealing with drunk people on a regular basis is not the easiest.
Hey,
what
we're recording.
What the fuck is going on?
There's phones ringing and fucking people walking in.
Hey, we're recording, honey.
I know, I said sorry.
Sorry. Okay, he's going woo to the dog.
That's funny. Anyway.
Uh-oh. That's okay. We're editing this out anyway, so it's fine.
Well, and I can't even.
I don't care, honey.
Phone off, but then the computer goes off too, and the fucking watch. And then...
I know, it's super weird.
Happens.
There
Hold
we
on
go.
just a sec. Can you close that door?
Yeah, but he's leaving now.
Oh, okay. This is a disaster.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? Okay.
Almost.
And go.
So what is the difference between like the most notable difference between serving in Vegas and serving in Seattle?
Money.
Money.
For sure. I mean, that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
But also, it was, yeah, I mean, it was easier. Like once you get used to all that shit, like it was really the easiest fucking job on the planet. Like if I could go back there now and do it.
Vegas, you mean?
Knowing better how to manage my money and shit. Like I made $12,000 and okay, I lived in Vegas for 3 months from March, April, May, June, July, 3.5 months. And I only worked for half of it because I was looking for a job for the first like half I was there.
Right.
So I worked for like a month and a half. I think it was a total of like 6 weeks. So like 6 weekends that I was making money. And I tallied up all of my tip receipts later when I was going to do my taxes. Obviously did not claim all of that money on my taxes. But I made $12,000 in tips in 6 weeks. What did I have to show for? Nothing. So there were girls that I worked with that did, like they were planning on, they had just come there from California or whatever close by and just came out there to make money and had plans to go home and buy a house and yada yada. In fact, there was a girl there that did that. That was her intention, to go to Vegas for a year and make money and go back to California and buy a house. And she had been there for 7 years when I met her, and she was like the kick-ass server at our club.
Whoa.
Yeah,
So
I'm
like,
not surprised. Once you like get that type of money, you're just like, yeah.
You have that kind of money coming in and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's an easy $150K a year when I work 3 nights a week, you know?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
why did you leave?
Because I hated it. I hated Vegas.
Yeah.
Same reason I left LA too. All I wanted was to move out of Washington State, and I moved to the 2 worst places for my personality to ever go. Like, no idea. I mean, it wouldn't have been like Vegas as a whole isn't terrible if you aren't working and practically living on the Strip. But working on the Strip, and everybody that I hung out with and knew were all escorts and people that worked on the Strip. So I was always on the Strip when I wasn't working. So it was just like party all night, sleep all day. And it was super depressing. It was not fun.
It just probably got old really quick.
It does. Yeah. It got old quick. And then it was actually a boy that I came back to Washington for at the end of the day. But
yep.
Not that it worked out well. It was my ex that I had broken up with long before I moved to Vegas. And then I would saw on MySpace. That's how long ago this was. MySpace that he changed his status to in a relationship and was like, oh, I got to go try to get him back now.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Damn, girl. I like it.
She likes a challenge.
Yeah.
And he was like, nope, you're just going to break my heart again. I was like, that was probably the smartest decision you ever made.
Yeah. Well, guess what? She would have.
Yup. Sure would.
Dang. Okay. Well, so then what? You moved back up to Tacoma?
Moved back to Tacoma, and then let's see. So like 2 months later, if that, not even that, maybe like a month later, I moved to LA, and then I lasted there for about a month and then came back to Washington again and was like, fuck this. That was when I was working at Ed Hardy, or for one of the, so I wasn't working for Ed Hardy, and that's a whole other long story. So I wasn't working for Ed Hardy, but I was working for someone that owned the licensing to certain clothing. So Ed Hardy was smart. He basically sold off the licenses to do the different types of clothing and bags and accessories. So he kept t-shirts and hats, like the main ones that you see. And then he would sell off belts or bags. So the guy that I worked for, and they all worked in the same building. The guy that I worked for owned belts, bags, and sweaters or something random.
Oh, weird.
Then there was someone else that had jeans, someone else that had, so it was really weird how they did it. But yeah, it was ugh.
Yeah, Ed Hardy, that was the shit back then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just back with like the juicy couture velour sweatsuits
Yes.
and all the Uggs and shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. The knit Uggs that like, how are those
Yeah.
even practical? Like,
They're not. They're just
no.
not.
No. Water on your feet, not very practical when you need to go outside in boots.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, they're just not.
Yeah, I could never get on any of those trends. Those were all terrible. Is
Totally.
Ed Hardy still a thing? That can't
I
be
hope
a thing.
not.
He ended up starting a couple of other clothing lines, and I don't know. Like, I feel
Affliction.
like I've seen Ed Hardy.
Maybe.
Mm-mm.
Well, I hope not. So, okay, so LA and Vegas, what did you not like about living in those two places? Was it kind of for the same reason that you left Vegas? It was just
Yeah, not the same exact reasons that I left Vegas, but they're both very, at least the people, again, like anywhere you live is going to be what you make of it, right?
Yeah.
But back then, you know, like I didn't know how to make anything out of anything. I was 22. So I just was like, everything in my world was about who I was around, which is really the same for us now. Like we just learn better who to surround ourselves with. But the people that I was around were, you know, superficial, you know, whether they're, you know, the escort friends that I had, like, you know, do your thing, but like they were all about their money and like what guy they were going to chase next, you know. Or in LA, you know, everybody that I was around in LA was like trying to impress somebody, you know, they needed to flaunt their money or whatever. They're just both places that kind of attract people like that. So
yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that shit. It's not my thing. Don't care. Ugh.
Nope.
Yeah, look at us right now.
Yeah, for real.
We're like in our snuggle pants still. It's 1
I'm
p.m.
wearing leggings. Yeah, it's nothing matters. Okay, so now you are a lady of many avenues. You've done so many things, and I admire you so much for that. So tell us what you're up to now, because I think it's very cool.
Well, speaking of escorts, no, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, I think like some people in my life are kind of starting to finally like speak up and ask me like what I'm doing for money and to live. Cause like, I'm really sure that my brother thinks that I have a sugar daddy.
Nice.
Hey, like fucking A if you do.
You know, digital marketing, it's not really a visible like product that I'm putting out there. Right. So yeah, digital marketing, I was doing marketing for a tech company when I was living in the Bay. And then when COVID hit, I went back up to Washington, of course, and essentially lost my job twice. I was fired twice this year. So
oh, good for you.
Like, oh, my year sucks. I'm like, yeah. I got into a relationship, got out of a relationship, got fired twice. Fucking like
2020.
2020. But I love it. So I was let go twice. I was let go in August and was given 3 months notice basically to find another job, which was nice and generous. And like a month and a half into that, I talked them into keeping me on at least part-time, because whoever they were looking to replace me with was not going to still do like what I would consider like the low level digital marketing, like actually putting the content out. Like there's like the higher level of the marketing where you're doing like the strategizing and the planning and all of that. And then there's like implementing it, right? Which like they were looking for someone really technical that they're not going to want to spend their time writing a Facebook post or a Twitter post or whatever. So, so I talked them into keeping me on to do the low level stuff, just so I still had income coming in until I found something. And then like, I don't know, weeks into that, no, maybe like a month into that, they were like, oh yeah, we told HR that you left California X number of months ago. And they were like, you didn't tell us that. So they've been paying like California state taxes for my income.
Oh shit.
Which is like, I was still technically, although I was relocated, still technically a California employee. But I think that there comes like a certain time period where they have to, if you're not living in that state, they have to change it over. So essentially HR found that I was a liability. So they were like, we're terminating her immediately. And the owner talked them into keeping me on through the end of the month. So that was the end of October. So yeah, so I was employed until the end of October and have been unemployed since then. But thankfully at the beginning of this year, I joined like some coaching groups. And so I started networking with a lot of like businessy people. And so those connections that I've made have essentially set me up to work for myself. So right now I'm working with someone that is kind of mentoring me and like teaching me the things that he wants me to take over in his company. So he has a digital marketing company. He builds websites, does like Google ads, Facebook ads. One of our other business partners does more of like the content strategy and content creation. But not so much content creation, but you see what I mean. So there's like all these different arms, and he wants me to take over all of the ads. So doing Facebook ads, Google ads. So he's kind of like, I know some of it, but he's showing me more so that I can essentially just take over all of those clients and just have that income coming to me. But
nice.
Right
That's awesome.
Yeah. So for right now, the problem is with like any small business owner, when you get to a certain point where it's like you want to make more money, but you don't have time to take on more clients to make that more money. So you have to hire people on and essentially delegate out, or, take on a partner that can do the work too. So I have like 3 different connections right now that I tried to go, because how I was an executive assistant for years. Like when I was working at Havana with you guys, I also had my job. So I'm really good at executive assisting. I'm good at like taking things and organizing things for other people, or just helping, right? Like helping other people like do their thing. I don't even know how to describe it, but that's what I've always been good at doing. And I've been trying to avoid jumping back into that, though I know I'm seeing these like small business owners struggle with where they're at. And I'm like, I know what I can help them with, but I've been trying to avoid doing that, because that's how I end up just staying stuck in the same like type of position when I want to go more into like strategy and content planning.
Right. Yeah.
It's like your comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, my comfort zone, and just like because I like helping people and I like seeing other people win, that like I want to help them. So, so I kind of just gave in the last couple of weeks, because when I was in Utah, I was staying with 2 different of those people. And then also, both of them also partner with my other business partner. It's all kind of very incestual, because everybody like creating like multiple streams of income, so that because that's the only way that you can make a lot of money. And that's what that's what I want to do. It's like, you have to diversify your streams of income, like for you guys, if you start having income coming in from the podcast, you can, start getting income coming from YouTube when you get enough followers. Like you just have to have those different streams. So everybody starts different businesses together. So I'm kind of like jumping in and seeing where they're hitting those breaking points, where they're right here and ready to make more money and expand, but they just need to get organized to do it. So I'm kind of helping them. So that's kind of more of what I'm doing right now, while I'm also still learning, like going to school for marketing, learning from the people that I'm working with from marketing, and then just my general knowledge that I already had going into it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all.
I can see I can see why that would work for you, because you've always been like such a hustler. Like you have your toe in this, your toe in that, like you have a bunch of things always going on, or a handful of jobs going on. That's just ever since we've known you, at least, always how you've been. So it seems like you'd be super successful in,
hats. Yeah, wearing all the hats.
Totally.
Yeah. Even when
I don't even look at the hats. How do I wear so many hats?
Yeah, well, listen.
I feel like you're the kind of person that like whatever you are gonna try, you're gonna put all of your energy into doing it very well, including when you took time off to go travel the world. Like you were real committed to it. Like,
I was so committed.
Yeah.
Committed to broke up with my boyfriend while I was in Thailand with Anna and Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? I don't remember that.
I became their unicorn. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds like what
I
was probably like, yeah, do it.
Do it.
And you came back with dreads.
I did.
Did you?
I came back with dreads. Yeah, Anna,
you remember. I don't remember anything.
I don't either. It's okay.
God.
Oh. Well, no,
Weird.
yeah, you moved to Tacoma and then I never saw you again.
I know.
Yeah, you and everybody else. She disappeared. But okay, so you took some time off to go travel. So did Anna a little bit. Tell me, like, I don't know. Tell me about that. Where'd you go? What'd you do?
Oh my God, like that was like 2 years of my life. Like which part do you want? Oh God.
Honestly, I am kind of, well, I'm kind of more interested in hearing about your recent cruising around the country, because
Yeah.
that's something that whenever I mean, like, I love to travel. My thing is I always want to get as far away as I possibly can. I'm just like, let's get on this 16-hour flight or whatever. Let's get around, like, out of here. But something I always want to do is just cruise around the country. And I've never had time to, and I really would love to do that. And you've been doing that honestly for what, like the last year?
Well, off and on, like even when I was going to school, in between every quarter, I would intentionally make sure I had enough time to go and just drive around for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. But yeah, for the pretty much since, so I bought the van at the beginning of July and I left Washington.
Sprinter van.
Like ProMaster, but similar. Yeah.
Oh,
We have the Sprinter.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Renee, get your fucking van straight.
Yeah, Renee, big white van, big white panel van. Well, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that people have stopped making those jokes to me. I'm like, God, you guys, it's getting old. So I left like mid-July to start working my way out here to North Carolina. And I took, well, I guess, yeah, it was like a month and a half because I got here Labor Day weekend. And then at the end of October, I took off down to Florida for like my birthday week. So I drove all the way down. I was intending to go just to, now I don't even remember, Costa Grande or something Grande. It's on the west side of Florida. And it's like, I don't know, 3/4 of the way down the state. So I was going there to stay with a friend of mine. And then when I left there, I was like, well, I don't really have to go home right now. And I'm already so far south and I've always wanted to go to the Everglades and do like a fan boat ride. So I drove further south of the Everglades. And then I was going to leave and route myself back from the Everglades and was like, wow, I'm even farther south now. Why don't I go to the Keys? So then I went to the Keys and then drove back from the Keys after that. But it's actually been really interesting traveling around during this year, obviously with like COVID and stuff, and seeing the difference throughout the year. Like when I first traveled across the country, and then of course, yeah, I just got back from driving down from Washington, and I've been working my way back since Thanksgiving, basically, right? So I've driven across the country twice. And the difference between like, just for like something that's very visible, the mask wearing, right? When I left Washington and I would go to like rest stops, gas stations, grocery stores, whatever it is that I would stop at, there was obviously a notable difference of where people wore masks. So where people were taking it seriously or where the cases were bad or whatever. So when I was in like smaller towns, people didn't wear masks, right? They didn't give a shit. They're not seeing any changes.
Yeah.
Or in certain states, certain states like Utah or Idaho, people aren't going to wear masks as much. But this last time, and that was July to August, there was a notable difference, especially like I spent like 3 weeks of that in Texas and hardly anybody wears masks there, and that's even,
we're not surprised.
Yeah. And I was in the Houston area. So like people there was places that you had to wear them, but it's like, it was much more lax, Yeah. So then I did this last trip across, which I just got here. So this was just in the last week to 2 weeks, everywhere, every small town, gas station, everywhere people were wearing masks this time. So
God damn, it took long enough. Jesus.
No kidding.
Yeah. But there was definitely still places where like, especially in Utah, like Salt Lake City, like you go to the gym and we have to wear our mask going into the gym like I have to wear it in my gym here. I have to wear it going in, and you're supposed to wear it walking between machines, but some people don't. I don't always put it back on. But in Utah, it's even like people will walk in and like, you can tell they're just carrying themselves. Like they're intentionally like, I'm not going to put a fucking mask on in the gym when I'm like working out and shit,
It's
like
a statement.
Yeah. So there's some places that people are still holding out. But,
it's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you can see like major differences just kind of that easily. And that goes to show that America is too large of a country.
way too large. I just had this conversation with someone. It's like people like talk shit about like how the US this and the US that, and they're so dumb, and why don't we get it figured out? Dude, we're like fucking 50 different countries.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like every it's like every state kind of has its own culture, and even some states that are so big have different cultures in different areas. So it's like expecting, and that's just like, I mean, the whole other conversation, but the whole political climate in general is, it's like we have so many different kinds of people in different groups that there's just no way that this country is ever going to be on the same page about anything, especially
totally.
now, you know, it's only going to get worse.
No,
you know?
absolutely. I was looking at this, you know, how BuzzFeed has those like 50 whatever this and that. And I was reading an article the other day on BuzzFeed. It was like what people in other countries, or questions people from other countries have for Americans or something. Yeah. And I was reading all of them, and it was like, why do Americans always, you know, like, I wish I could even think of some good examples, but I think it was all Christmas related.
Sure.
And anyway, they were so ridiculous. And I was like, I can't relate to any of these. Like, none of these things that they're saying Americans do or are or say all the time. I was like, no, maybe like in the South, or maybe in like,
well, yeah, there's
whatever.
There's two things that play a factor there. Yes, most people in other countries think that Americans are that Texans are America, right?
Yeah.
That Southern accent, and like that's America, right? Like, no. And two, they're just like we get our perspectives of other people in other countries, they're getting all of theirs from the media, right?
Totally.
Things like that. Like, you know, they don't, and that was a sad thing that I learned when I was traveling, is that like that we make so many judgments. And even again, just talking about the US, we make so many judgments about people in different areas just based on what we see on TV, or what we, you know, which is why we've gotten to the places we've gotten to with race issues in this country, is how certain groups are portrayed through entertainment and media. We're not getting actual perspectives like one-on-one with other people. We're just getting our perspective from what's being shown to us. And people don't know how to turn that off. Like they're not consciously aware of it.
Yeah. It's really bizarre. Well, and a lot of, I don't know, obviously a lot of the traveling that we do is to places that, you know, don't have as much money maybe as we do here in the US or where we live, you know, like smaller, just kind of, I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But a lot of people constantly think like either number one, oh, America, hey, you're a dick, or oh, American, you have a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like even if, because we're, you know, like we scrub around with our backpacks and whatever, like nothing about looking at us when we're anywhere else looks like we have a lot of money, but people just think you have a lot of money. And I'm like, oh, that's what people think of Americans, that we have a lot of money. But
well, yeah, because we technically do, even if we're lower middle class, have a ton more money than people that we encounter in those countries, you know, especially when you're like Cambodia or Vietnam.
Just tons of money. It's just money. It's all about money.
But to be honest, when it comes to like, oh, you're American, you're a dick, I even think that when I encounter Americans while I'm traveling, I'm like, I hear an American accent, please tell me they're Canadian, or stay the fuck away from that person, because
we love our Canadians. We want to be in you.
Yeah, every fucking American I met when I was traveling in Southeast Asia was a fucking douche. Like, I'm not Canadian.
Yeah. It's
we're Canadian.
Very embarrassing.
When I was in Italy, I definitely said I was Canadian. I was like, no, I'm from Canada. I don't know what you're talking about.
We all aspire to be Canadian. That's the truth about Americans, that we just want to be Canadian.
Yeah, we're just embarrassed.
Yeah, exactly.
Real. Did you guys see in the news, I think yesterday or the day before or whatever, like Tom Cruise cussed out somebody on the set, like recorded, and Tom Cruise like cussed out his crew for not wearing masks, and they like, I think the goal was to try to make Tom Cruise look like an asshole, but he was like, the future of the industry is on my shoulders and I'm spending hours. Like he freaked out. And I was like, okay, let's like take it down a notch a little bit, but also like good for him. He basically was like, if anybody that I see come to the set that isn't wearing a mask, you're fired. And he was like, you know, dropping lots of F-bombs and was very like passionate about it. And I was like, I usually hate Tom Cruise, but I'm going to give him props right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I was going to say that makes me like him a little more.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I think they're trying to make him look like an asshole, but I don't think it's working.
We're trying. Well, way to go, Tommy. Tommy C.
Yeah. Good old Tommy C.
Tommy C.
He thinks the future of the whole entire Hollywood industry is on his shoulders, but
it's not.
It's, that's asking a little bit much.
Fine. It's fine.
It's fine. So are you able to completely work, like, I don't want to say from home, but from anywhere, essentially?
Yeah. I mean, anywhere I have internet connection, I can be anywhere. That's actually the like conundrum I've got myself into, because now I'm like, I want to get out and explore around here more because I haven't explored this part of the country much.
Yeah.
And but then I'm like, well, fuck, like what? This was why I wanted a van, so that I wasn't like paying rent somewhere while I'm out exploring and doing things. But I also want to have a home base and like have a home to come to because it's comfortable and like where I can work or whatever. So
yeah, why did you choose North Carolina?
Well, I came out here because my friend lives here that was going to help me, or is still, I mean, he is still helping me. I'm just not working on it right now. Helping me convert the van. And the first time I came out here to visit them, him and his wife, I had the thought in my head that I remembered thinking, but didn't really specifically remember why. I just remember thinking I really liked it out here and it would be cool to buy a house out here because it's so inexpensive to have as like a home base, where the cost of living is lower, yada, yada, whatever. So I had that thought leaving here last time. And then when I came back this time, I was like, oh yeah, like for sure. I love it out here. It's so fucking peaceful, away from all of the chaos. Like, I don't know, like, I don't remember if you guys are into like energies and stuff. So again, gonna get woo woo, but like, it's just so fucking chaotic. Whenever I'm in California or Washington or on the coast, it just feels so fucking chaotic. I can't focus. Like my anxiety and depression, and maybe that's just because that's where home is and where anything that, you know, any dramas or anything would have been over there. Not that I have any right now, but maybe that's why. But it just feels so chaotic over there. And here it's just like quiet and peaceful and things are open and people aren't fighting with each other about masks, and it's just like peaceful.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, it feels really good.
That's great.
I love it, and that's why I wanted to get an apartment too. And I also have not lived on my own in like 3 years. I don't know, like ever since I came back from traveling, I was living with my best friend. Then I did get my own apartment for 6 months. And then I moved into this mother-in-law. And right after I moved into that mother-in-law, my brother had to come and live with me. So it was like from then on, which was like 2017, then I was living with my grandparents in California because they were helping me while I was in school. Like, I just was like, I am 35 years old and I need to have my own space again, please. I've been on my own since I was 18 and this is weird.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, I just wanted to have like my own space again, to have my things, and I can do whatever I want. I can walk around naked and burn fucking incense and not have my grandpa walk by and tell me that it smells like a Japanese whorehouse. I just want to burn a candle, okay?
Japanese escort house.
Yeah, come on, Gramps. A Japanese sex worker house.
Yes.
That is the easy way to put it.
Oh, I love grandpas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that probably feels nice, and we're super happy for you. And very stoked for you that you are in this new profession, getting all these amazing new skills in something that you obviously really give a shit about and you're really good at, and you'll, I'm sure, be very successful at. I mean, that's really exciting. And if, you know, you're gonna leave our amazing restaurant industry behind, at least it's for a really good reason.
Yeah. And you know, I can still do marketing in the restaurant industry. So.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
If they don't all die off, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
God, that's the truth. Is there anything that you really miss about working in bars and I know you've worked in like some bottle shops and that kind of a setting and retail kind of spots, but is there anything that you really miss about it?
Probably the money.
Yeah.
And it's just such easy money because it's like if you find a restaurant or bar or wine bar or wherever it is that you're working where you enjoy the space, you enjoy the people, the patrons, you enjoy the people that you're working with. I mean, I guess you don't always have to enjoy the patrons because that was not always the case in Havana, but for the most part, you know, like if you like the vibe of the place and you like the people you're working for, it's such easy money, even if you're not making a ton of money. And because I always had the jobs, and I always felt bad for like, even you guys, like that was your only source of income. So like if we had bad nights, it would hit you guys a lot harder than me because I had a regular paycheck where I was still making 50,000 a year, you know? So,
Right.
So it's like, it was so much less stressful for me because it wasn't my only source of income. And I could just work, like I had the luxury of being able to just work at places that I enjoyed working and liked the people, you know, and didn't have to like I can't say that like, unless I was working somewhere that I made like a ton of money, you know, like the Vegas money, you know, like I can't say that I would want that to be my only source of income because it's stressful because you could have shitty nights or you could have fucking COVID happen and your whole life and career is like pulled out from under you, you know, so that fucking sucks.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really good point. It is this business, we kind of, there's ups and downs throughout the year for sure. And kind of depending on the place that you work. I mean, usually holiday season is a huge moneymaker for us and we're crazy slammed busy and it's awesome. And most of us are raking in the dough this time of year. And instead we're sitting around unemployed.
Recording a podcast.
Taking shots in our not walk-in.
Yeah. You're in sort of a walk. It's a sewing walk-in.
It's a sewing room walk-in. Yeah.
Yeah. On that top, like just this as an example, I was talking to a friend of mine who she works in fitness. So of course gyms are closed again up there. That she was kind of polling people on her Instagram about like, you know, has COVID affected you? Has it affected your income? You know, blah, blah, blah. And I started to write out like all of the ways that it's affecting people that I care, because it doesn't really affect me because I do digital marketing. So it's actually benefited me as things have moved online.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of people I know own restaurants or bars or actual brick and mortar shops for, you know, apparel or whatever else that are really hurting. Besides the ones that have figured out how to pivot, how to take their skills and their careers and twist it in a way that can go online. Like everything has to go online now. And you guys have done that. Like you have your skills and everything that you have gained from working in the restaurant industry. And I would be willing to bet that you probably don't want to work in a restaurant and be serving or bartending or whatever for the rest of your life, right? So you were going to have to make this kind of a shift eventually anyway, to try to find something that where you could take those skills and do something more enjoyable, at least for a time being, you know, as long as you like it and it's working for you.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, it bugs me when they were like, oh, fuck 2020, unless they, like, I do have a friend that's had 2 of her best friends pass this year, which really sucks, not from COVID, but that's a terrible year. But
that's a terrible year.
Part, like, for the most part, people that are like, fuck 2020 and all this, it's like, have you looked at like how this has actually made you kind of pivot into realizing who means the most to you and who you need to surround yourself with, or who you actually want to risk surrounding yourself with? You know what I mean? Like it's those little things where it's like, you can't go out and hang out with everyone and you're not going to go to parties. So you're going to have to decide who you are willing to risk your health or someone else's health to be around. Right. So that's like a very, I don't know. It's just this year.
It's been a disruptive year for sure, but disruptions can be a really good thing. Yeah, for sure. It's been a really disruptive year for a lot of people, including myself. And I'm really thankful for it. This has been super tough in a lot of ways, but it's also been really, really great in a lot of ways too. So yeah, it's good to try to remind people of that because it's super easy to get down, you know?
Yeah. And that is a good point about kind of just taking a step back and looking at the ways that things have changed and realizing that a lot of them aren't all negative, even if they kind of are at face value, or, you know, even if they kind of seem like, oh shit, I lost my job, but hey, now I'm going to figure out how to do something that I actually really love. And or, you know, move on to working with these people who are going to support me in a better way. And I'm going to be able to spend more time with the people that I really, really love and want to spend time with. Yeah. It's a really good point. It's not all
doom and
here,
gloom.
folks. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Totally. That's
very
good.
true.
Yeah.
Well, are you? Oh,
I was just gonna try to pull a holiday story out of Amber because
I was just gonna do the same.
Oh, were you? Nice.
I was gonna say, so Amber, do you normally like Christmas time, the holiday season? Yes.
The holiday season. Yes.
Are you like do you like Christmassy things? Do you like Christmas cookies and elves? And
The worst person ever.
do you love Christmas Jesus? And
comment. I don't know what kind of audience you have, so
neither do we, but one of them is in Moscow and we love him and we're still trying to figure out who you are, Putin, so get at us. We have attended some holiday parties with you, and we were kind of talking about one when we were doing our little marketing strategy meeting before this, that I would love to just kind of hear a little bit more about, and it involved you slap punching someone and then waking up in an RV.
all right.
Or if she doesn't want to tell that story, that's fine too.
So here we go. So it was 2016. 2016. I think that was Christmas 2016. There I was. Woke up very hungover on a Saturday or Sunday morning. And it dawned on me that I did not check my parking on my vehicle where I left it the night before. But I woke up in an RV. I was safe and sound in a bed in an RV with who shall not be named.
A guy that lived in an RV. We'll just call it that.
A guy that lived in an RV that may or may not have worked with me. And I was super hungover, frantically trying to figure out the parking situation, trying to figure out the stupid parking app and pay for parking, and was like, God damn it, I can't pay for the parking. It's already expired. I don't know if I need to move my car. It's already like noon. I don't even know. And he wakes up and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I need to, like, I got to get my car. And he's like, where do you need to take it? And I'm like, I just need to move it. Like, I don't know if it's safe where it is. And he's like, it's fine. And I'm like, how do you know that? Did you check the signs before we left? Like, I don't remember looking. And he was like, it's parked behind the RV. And I was like, ooh, okay.
Because Santa Claus came and he drove you and your RV'd gentleman
delivered us to the RV and plopped my vehicle there.
What a guy.
And things were starting to come back a little bit about the night, and it wasn't all great, but it was pretty fun. And then he tells me that his jaw still hurts, and I'm like, why did your jaw hurt? And he's like, because you punched me in the face. And I'm like, okay, a liar, because I would never do that. And he's like, okay, it was more of like a really hard slap. And I'm like, okay, why would I do that? Where did this happen? Like, bring these memories back. What the fuck? And he's like, oh, it was in the car, yada, yada. And it's starting to come back to me. And I was like, oh, I actually did this because he spent the entire night for the party from between like 2 or 3 different locations, hanging all over and kissing all over my female coworkers, trying to make me jealous. He and I were hooking up, but we were not exclusive by any means. But typically in like a bar atmosphere, it's like, look, if you're fucking somebody that you work with, you're not also trying to fucking get all over. It's just like, you know, whatever.
There's rules here,
rules
folks.
of the bar. There are rules here. Over the line, mark it 0. So he, he's like trying to make me jealous all night, which was just like more annoying than anything. I'm like, I don't really care. Like, you can go make out with, you know, this girl or that girl. And they may or may not have been into it. I don't know. I didn't care. I was just having fun getting drunk with my friends. And so, so he tells me in the car when we finally get to the car, he's still trying to make me mad. And I'm like, what is the problem? Like, why are you doing this? And he's like, I just want you to get jealous. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, I was like, is that why you were making out with everybody? And he's like, yeah, I was trying to make you jealous. And he's just like, still doing it. Like he's trying to get a reaction out of me. Well, he got a reaction out of me.
Yeah.
Like,
sounds like he was successful.
You smacked him.
And that's why it's like, when people talk about like, you know, abusing people and they're like, you know, well, what did you do to deserve it? Like, no, he legit was like trying to make me hit him. What his goal was, and it happened, and I'm not proud of it, but
he was asking for it. He was asking for it.
He was literally asking for it. Literally.
Okay, well, and then you woke up next to him in the RV. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is a modern love story.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's definitely a modern love story. Here we go. And then he ended up, he actually did hook up with tried to. He hooked up with Stormy, and I was trying not to say names, but whatever. And then tried to hook up with Jamie, but she was like, no. And this was all like in the last few days before he was leaving, like after his like going away party and shit. And so shit went down at work when I found that out at work, and we were all counting tips at the end of the night. And I was like, listen, motherfucker, like in front of everyone.
You texted me that night.
You shit in my fucking sandbox, and you need to get the fuck back to Austin and get out of here.
No way.
Yeah. She
Did
sent
you slap
me,
him again?
I remember this because you texted me at like 3:00 in the morning, all pissed. And I was like, uh-oh. It was like a flood of text messages. And then, yeah, I remember that very well.
Well, restaurants, folks, or bars or whatever, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Someone's doing someone.
Someone's always doing someone, for sure.
It's true.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bunch of attractive young people just all working together and getting drunk.
Just getting drunk and other things and doing the things.
Yeah. Okay, kids. So if you attend your work holiday party, do not get super hammered, punch the guy that you're hooking up with, and then sleep in his RV.
And also take an Uber.
And take an Uber.
An Uber. Also, don't date people or let a guy put his penis inside of you that would treat you like that. You know?
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
So many lessons. So many lessons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally.
For you.
And we also, if those of you listening notice that we did not take a shot at the top of the episode, it's because it is, we started our meeting at 10 a.m. It's not 10 a.m. anymore, but
it's still too early.
It is. But I was going to, if you, Amber, do you drink alcohol these days, or do you not drink alcohol these days?
Sometimes, but generally I try not to. It hasn't not served me well during the year of COVID. Technically, it's not really served me well for most of my life.
Yeah.
Hence the story that I just told. But in the year of the COVID was definitely a year to not drink. Yeah. I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink from January until March. And then I ended up in that relationship, and he drinks heavily, and I shouldn't say heavily. He just drinks every day, right?
A regular drinker, yeah.
So it got to the point where like everyone around me like was unemployed and just drinking all day. And I'm like, well, fuck, like I want to drink with everyone, you know? So I finally caved. Well, I think it was April. And then it was just like, I ended up blacking out, which I haven't blacked out in like 10 years. I ended up blacking out one night and fucking puking everywhere in my friend's guest bed. Like just, and I didn't do anything crazy. It was just like, why am I not drunk now? Like, you know?
Yeah.
I drank an entire bottle of tequila and then proceeded to eat Jello shots because I was hungry, but no one put food in my mouth. So I was just eating Jello shots because I was hungry.
No.
I drank a lot that night.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah. And it wasn't, that's the weird thing about like fucking, I realized about like my depression and anxiety, particularly this year is I never really realized that I dealt with anxiety, and I don't even like saying that because it's much more like of a mood thing. Because I don't get like panic attacks or anything like that. It's just more of like a hindrance of doing things, or just more of the thought process. And it's not so much depression as anxiety. And then they have the depression too. And I realized with that whole like drinking episode, when I was drinking way too much, when I was in Tacoma, that my depression and anxieties show themselves with my drinking habits. I don't really know. I didn't know that I was depressed. I didn't know that I was like, I was happy. I was in this relationship with this guy that I really liked, and we were playing house and living in our apartment and blah, 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 whatever. I thought I was happy, but I wasn't, because I knew he was not the person that I needed to be with. I knew that I basically gave up all of the progress that I had before COVID hit, when I got into the relationship with him and started drinking again and stuff. So it's just, it hasn't, and then I haven't really drank much since then, until just like a few weeks ago when I had finished this challenge, because I do this challenge often. I try to stay on it all the time, but then I fuck it up with like whatever. So that I can technically drink in between it. Yeah. But like I could drink right now because I'm not doing the challenge right now, but it's like probably better that I don't.
What is the challenge?
It's called 75 Hard. And it's this guy, Andy Frisilla, who's like, I don't know what you would even like, coach, whatever, life coach, kind of like fitness. Actually, he owns a company called First Form, which does like all kinds of like fitness supplements and stuff.
Got it.
I think that was his main thing that he started with. So he came up with this program, 75 Hard, that it's not a fitness program, but there is like, you have to do 2 workouts a day and one has to be outside. So it's a discipline challenge more than anything. So it's you have to do a 45-minute workout outside regardless of the weather. And it's, most people just go for a walk. So I go for a walk every day, and then another workout, 45-minute workout, whether it's stretching, yoga, workout at the gym, whatever, it can be anything you want. Then sticking with a diet, whatever it is, whether it's you're doing keto or you're just reducing your portions, like just decide on a diet and stick with it every single day, no cheat days.
My diet is the cheese diet.
Do you take any cheat days, Renee? Cheat days? Oh,
yeah. A day without cheese? Hell no.
Cheese is so yummy, but I try not to eat too much of that. So
makes me
it's more of a discipline thing. So it's then reading 10 pages a day, sticking with a diet, 1 gallon of water a day, 2 workouts, and then taking a progress picture of yourself. Which again, like some of it sounds like ridiculous, but it's like, it's just discipline things, like taking a lot of, which is how I actually fucked it up this last time. I was on day 27. I forgot to take my picture. So then I fucked it up. So then I have to start over. So it's about like creating a schedule and a discipline and like sticking with it. And that was like, discipline is like the one thing I've never had. Like I've never had discipline. Like what, if I don't see, and part of that is just not knowing what my goals and my immediate whys are, I guess you'd call them. Is like, why do I not drink? Or should I stick with a diet and eat healthy? Why should I work out? Like, what are the end goals and what are the benefits that I'm going to see from that, other than like, because otherwise, if I don't have that, then I just wake up in the morning and I'm like, I don't feel like getting up early today. I don't want to go to the gym because I don't feel like it. Like, why? What is my goal? So I feel
like this is all things I need to figure out. This is like, yeah. Wow.
Maybe you should do the challenge.
It sounds like a lot.
Sounds like a lot. And let me tell you, it's only recently not sounded like a lot to me. And I've been doing it off and on all fucking year. So
yeah,
it's in the beginning, like when you first started, it's like, fuck, how do I remember to do all of these things? And everything seems so time consuming and all that. But what it did, like the major shift for me was like, it kept me from like sitting on my phone on social media for too many hours at night when I got home from work. Cause it's like, I have to get those 2 workouts in, or, it's forcing you to read, and you can't just read any book. It's not like nonfiction. You have to read like some kind of entrepreneurial book or something that's like self-help or something that benefits you. Right. So it's just making you do things that you should do anyway. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what it is like, and it gives me, I need to find better whys, because I kind of use it as my why. So I'm like, oh, when somebody's like, why aren't you drinking? Oh, because I'm doing 75 Hard, like that shouldn't be my why, but that's why I have liked the program, because I don't have that solid why of like, I know why I shouldn't drink, because sometimes it's a slippery slope, and I'm 2 bottles and get into a fight with my brother on the phone, telling him he's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I'm not good at like setting limits for myself, especially when I'm drinking, so it's
how
having a discipline program helps.
Yeah. How long does it take before that, like, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's this program or challenge or whatever, how long does it take before it feels easier?
Um,
Good question.
it's easier. I don't think any of it really gets easier. It just becomes different kinds of challenges, right?
Yeah.
I would say the hardest part of trying to get through it was like I quit it a couple times because I wanted to drink, which was dumb. So like the diet thing can be really strict or like really hard if you don't choose something that is sustainable. So the first couple times I was doing it, I was not I was choosing diets that were really strict. I was doing keto or paleo or something where that's not really super sustainable if you don't need to cut out that many things out of your diet or
Yeah.
you're not cut a lot of weight or something like that. So yeah, I think it's mostly the diet that like if you have to choose something that's much more sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. Good call. I know.
I mean, the cheese diet.
The
It's
cheese
just-
diet.
The cheese diet is where you eat cheese every day. And then you
get
gain
tooty.
a bunch of weight.
I know. I always find that if I do something for, like, if I'm kind of nice to myself, but I give myself like 2 weeks or that kind of thing, like, okay, just do this thing for 2 weeks. I personally find that it will get easier and easier for me. And I don't know if it's just like creating that new habit or whatever it is, but with stuff like what you're talking about, like I was doing that like 30 days with Adrian yoga thing, and at first I was like, oh man, feels hard and I'm tired and whatever. But then the more you do it and then the better you feel, I feel like those types of habits get easier because you actually feel good.
Yes. Yeah. And I would say, yeah, like it does get easier to a point, but then it's so easy. And this is where I don't find it easier when it does get easier, is because when it does get easier, you think that, oh, this has become a habit. And then you don't do it for a day. And that's like, you'd be surprised how easily that habit is gone,
Just
like
slip right out of it. Yeah.
so it's like, there'll be some days that I'm like, oh, I want to go on another walk. You know what I mean? Like I want to get out and be moving and stuff. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, like this is like, I finally got to a point where it's like, I want to keep my body moving. I want to be like doing things and working out and exercising. But then if I don't do it for a day or two, then I very easily will be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to lay in bed all day today.
Yeah.
So easy just to drop that habit.
Yeah.
Like it's a bad habit, but it's a good habit, but you can drop good habits too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of habits here, folks.
Yep.
That's true. Well, we're super stoked for you. And I'm really glad that you're doing what you want to be doing, because I know that can feel really hard for some people. And it's tough to get out of, again, like you said, an industry where you can make some really easy money and you have tons of fun friends and there's always something, whatever. But it's really exciting just at least to see a friend and someone that we care about make that switch and it be a really positive one. So bravo. Yeah. We're so happy for you.
And I'm so happy for you guys doing the podcast.
Hey. Everyone's having fun.
Probably, but whatever.
It's all fun. Hey, listen, we're all just doing our best here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been super fun talking to you, and I hope that we can maybe even just do this more often, because we're going to need your help some more. Amber gave us lots of super amazing hot tips on how to be better at social media. So we're going to go try to put some of those in play now, because as
we're idiots.
Y'all know we're not. Yeah, we're idiots.
But we're trying.
We're trying.
You got this. You got it.
We've got it. Yeah, exactly. Well, hugs and loves to you and everyone listening. Amber is really, really good at social media and she's always posting something fun. So we are going to obviously do a little post. We'll tag her so all of you can follow her and make sure she's doing her damn challenge.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that? Catch me outside.
They're gonna catch you outside taking a damn walk, is what they're gonna do.
Yep. You want me outside.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. So what was I had something and then I don't remember what I was gonna say. I'm gonna edit that out.
Obviously.
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
It's okay.
Anyway, Renee, you want to close her up?
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Amber, for chatting with us today. We really appreciate it. Do you want to plug your Instagram or anything?
I mean, if people, I don't even, is it Amber Casteñeda official? I don't even remember what my tag is because I changed it not that long
Well,
ago.
then we will tag you in
Well,
our
tag me.
post.
And if people are interested, they can follow my van page too.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can also tag, because I feel like people won't remember it anyway, if I say lady_of_the_road_.
So how many underscores was that?
It was 3, but I think I actually said 4. It's fine.
Okay.
We'll
3 to 4
tag 'em.
underscores.
3
Yeah.
or 5 underscores.
3 to 5 underscores. It's fine.
Nice.
Whatever.
All right.
We're going to take all of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
there
Well,
we
we
go.
love you. Everyone, we love you who is listening to this ridiculous, amazing, and super fun podcast that we call Shots in the Walk-In.
Mhm.
My name is Anna, and
download, subscribe, and review.
Please.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Well,
My name is Renee. Thank you for listening.
and I'm Anna. Thank you for listening.
All right. See you later, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.